everyone, and thank you for joining us for this fireside chat with Peter Bakari, former Olympian and founder of NutriTroops, where we'll be exploring how technology can be used to enhance student wellbeing. I'm Esme Caulfield, I'm competitions lead at Tech Nation, and I'm really excited to be here today at London Tech Week talking to Peter. And we don't have lots of time, so I will just get straight on into the conversation. Welcome, Peter. It's so great to have you here today. How are you doing?
I'm well, thank you. Yeah, pleasure to be here. After the year we've just had, it's nice to see the world slowly coming back and the engine turn back on.
Absolutely. I mean, first of all, our audience would love to hear a bit more about you. So could you give us an introduction about yourself and tell us kind of where you are right now?
Yeah, so I started as a basketballer from the age of 10, had a love for animation and drawing, realized that maybe you need to know a little bit more to get into that field. So started doing acting and writing, used to write for an old TV show called Skins, then kind of gave that up to start playing volleyball, got the chance to play pro around the world and represent Team GB at the Olympics in London, and then done my degree in animation and started up NutriTroops to help children be active and healthy.
Wow, honestly, just hearing that is just so amazing. Such a range of different things that you've done and been fantastic at. And I think, sort of hearing about your journey so far in your life, I mean, we've all had our own unique experiences over the past 18 months where life has been interrupted or not. What's the past 18 months been for you?
At the beginning, it was extremely hard because our work with schools was kind of direct. So everything just stopped. And it was kind of a realization, oh my goodness, what do we do now? And I guess we kind of just said to ourselves, okay, I don't think we'll ever get this opportunity where the world is kind of slowed down. So we just use that opportunity to try and, build something that we would love for when the world does pick back up again, we can use to help children. So it's been a topsy-turvy roller coaster.
Yeah, no, I understand that. There's been quite a few businesses, sort of tech businesses that I've worked with that also kind of chose that opportunity to double down on building their product, understanding their customer base and really using that time to do that. So, we're here to talk about wellbeing and technology today, and we will come on to that because that's the crux of this conversation. But I'd love to hear a bit more kind of about your amazing journey from scriptwriter to animator to Olympian to mentor coach to business founder, all these fantastic things. Can you tell us a bit more about kind of how you've done this? It's
so the way I got into playing sports itself, favorite movie, well, I love cartoons, so the favorite movie I watched was Space Jam, and I thought, oh my goodness, there's sports as well. And we had you know what a monk is, grey robes, Catholic, pray a lot. Yeah, they had a friary in our area, so they were helping out with the homeless, but they also gave like donations of food to the families. So I was part of those families, but the good thing was, because they were from America and loved to play basketball, they just put tarmac at the back of the friary, put 2 basketball posts up, let the kids in the area play whenever we wanted. So that's how I got into playing sports. Always wanted to do animation and drawing, and randomly joined my theatre group. Tried out stand-up comedy, done my first joke, and well, that's when I realized it wasn't funny. But things started getting a little bit harder from there, and I tried other things, got into Skins just from that writing group. And I had the opportunity then to play volleyball. So this was continue with the acting and writing and hopefully create your own animation one day or try sports. And my coach said to me, your body's only going to be in its prime for a certain time, but your mind and education lasts forever. So what do you think, Pete? I was like, okay, yeah. So I left East London, moved up to Sheffield. That's when training was just incredible. Like 5 hours, 6 hours a day while studying animation at uni. Thought I wasn't going to make it, got into the Olympic Games, and then that's when I said, okay, I'm done. Woo, let me go back to animation. So I started studying animation at uni, And that's where I started visiting primary schools. And I started to realize, hold on, we just held the biggest tournament in, well, the world, you know, multi-sport. How come children are obese? 1 in 3 children suffer from obesity. So you've got sugary foods, salty foods, and fatty foods. There's one more thing that children consume more than those 3 that causes obesity in children. Do you know what it is?
No, but I'd love to.
Media and tech.
Right, okay, see, I was going to go for sugary drinks.
Yeah.
Totally wrong. Media and tech. Okay, I mean, could you elaborate a bit more on that?
So if you imagine when we have companies using marketing techniques, different forms of media, it's just advertising. And it's used so many. So we can name as many mascots linked to unhealthy habits. Now let's look at the other side for the healthy foods. How many mascots can you name off that are healthy? The balance isn't there. So we thought media and tech isn't bad. It's actually, what if we just used it for healthy habits the same way they have done? And then NutriTroots is kind of birthed. And that's the kind of full journey.
Wow. Do you know, I would love to see that represented as a Venn diagram, because I think there was a lot of circles between kind of Space Jam and animation and basketball and well-being that would just be beautifully presented like that. Thank you so much for sharing us with that. I was going to ask you next, what have been your main lessons learned along the way? But I think I might come back to that at the end, if you like, because we sort of started getting into talking about well-being and mental and physical health. When was it? I didn't put this in the question, so I hope you don't mind me chucking it in. When was it that you first became aware yourself of the importance of both physical and mental health to you?
Honestly, times growing up, it was just part and parcel of you know, life. And in terms of knowing about myself, it was just literally if you're going through bad times and hard times, my upbringing wasn't always, you know, easy in the area that we grew up in. When I started playing volleyball at the Olympic level, and then we started getting performance coaching, and that's where the stress of having to make sure that you can score a point, and then the stress of making sure that you can come back to training even better, I realized, wow, your well-being is just as important as your physical well-being. You know, it goes part and parcel. So it really hit me when I really got down to try and breaking down what was wrong and what was right during Olympic training.
Amazing. And you know, likewise, you sort of touched on it a bit, but when did you become particularly aware of kind of the importance of well-being on a bigger scale, so to others and particularly young people?
This is where I realized all the benefits that I was getting from being active, didn't realize they were there until training. And then suddenly when I started realizing I love working with children, it was, well, being active helps your well-being, which helps your attainment in school, you know. So that's when it started to link, and I thought, how many more children can we actually help? And that's where I thought about the scale of what we're trying to help and do with NutriTroots.
Absolutely, absolutely. And again, I'm going to sort of move on to, because we're starting to talk about NutriTroots, so let's follow that thread through. Could you now tell us a bit more about your company, NutriTroots? Sorry, I've been practicing saying it. I know it really is.
It's the true truth. Yeah.
To be fully present and one in body and mind to say. What is the aim of NutriTroots, and how does it support young people's well-being?
So NutriTroots is an interactive adventure for children. They play the role of healthy heroes where they take on real world and online challenges. By collecting points, we can then see how healthy they are to make sure that in terms of the game, we can change it up for them. They have different forms of media to learn along the whole way, and we just cover the curriculum in schools.
And I think, you know, some people, perhaps parents, for example, might consider that technology already takes up a lot of their children's lives. You already touched on kind of media and technology being the biggest cause of obesity. So then, you know, children looking at phones, it might prevent them from going outside and being active. What's your view on that?
It's funny because I love the fact that we have supercomputers in our hand. You know, you can do such amazing things with the tablets nowadays, the smartphones, the laptops, the computers. It's the choice on what we want to do. So when it comes to all the time being on a laptop, well, what if they were revising for an exam on a laptop? Suddenly the time that they're using is beneficial. So what if they were on their laptop doing a workout? You know, suddenly the time on a laptop is beneficial. So it's the time isn't a problem, it's just what maybe we do with it.
I hear you. And is there any advice that you give to parents perhaps who are concerned about technology, their children kind of being on their phones too much, and how that impacts their well-being, and what they can do to support their kids?
Well, if I know myself as a child, if you tell me don't do something, what do you think I'm gonna do? So I think it's maybe finding things that will be beneficial that they will enjoy on the tablet, and then say, you know, okay, you know, you can do a bit of this if you do a bit of that. Suddenly, okay, if I know my child's on a laptop, there's something good that they're doing with. So it's finding out what their interests can that be beneficial in any type of way.
Yeah, absolutely. And I suppose, moving away from parents, because you're right, tell a kid to do it. I was like that myself. Tell a kid to do something, they'll go and do the opposite. What ways can technology be used to kind of empower young people themselves to take control of their own well-being?
Well, is such first, technology is a tool. So finding out what do you want to try and achieve, you know, what's your goal, and that tool can help you get there. So if you had something where your objective was to be more relaxed and calm because you feel anxiety, then maybe a mindful app is the tool that you need to try and help you get there. You know, if you wanted to be more active, you know, the fitness apps. You know, if you wanted to revise, there's so many things in terms of technology that you can use. The same way you would go, I'm hungry, I want to eat. This is the tool I'm going to use to get food to be delivered. So I'd say that's the best way to kind of use tech.
Amazing. So I'm going to sort of switch tack a little bit now, but still continuing on the theme of well-being. Resilience is a key aspect of well-being, of mental health, and looking after yourself. And not just for young people, but for tech founders as well. It's an attribute that people have and are displaying all the time. I'd be really interested in, as someone, you've had such a fascinating career, and as an Olympian particularly, there must have been times when you were under immense pressure. How did you manage this?
I guess if we go back to why you're going to be in that pressure situation in the first place, because you care about what you're doing, so something that you wanted to try and achieve. And going back to the root of where you started, anytime we want to try something, we've got to come out of our comfort zone, take that first step. So if I remember back to when I first started playing volleyball, I didn't want to do it. I was like, my coach said to me, try it. And I was like, nah. He said, give it a go. And I remember trying to dig the ball would hit me, hit the floor, and there's a point to another team. I tried again, tried digging it, ball hit me, hit the floor, point to another team. Tried one more time, got frustrated, tried digging it, hit me, hit the floor, point to the other team. So I said to my coach, nope, I don't want to play anymore. And he said, why? I said, one, people keep on laughing at me every time I make a mistake. Two, I don't think I'm going to get any better. And three, I can't. That's when coach gave me the best piece of advice that I keep to this day in whatever field that I go into. And he said, whenever you hear yourself saying, I can't, you add one more word. And that's, I can't yet. Because when you try anything new, of course you can't do it. That's why it's called something new. So yet means time, yet means practice, yet means belief. And when you're trying to take those steps, constantly trying to get towards your goal, you're going to find yourself thinking, why am I doing this? But that yet means, where do I want to go? When do I want to get there? And you always remember that, and it helps you with your resilience.
Amazing. And kind of, does that apply to your journey as a founder, or is there any particular lessons that you've learned from your journey so far that have really helped you in being a founder of a startup?
Well, in terms of your company, a company means a group of people, your team, your unit, And it's the same thing on the court, you know, going into it, your competition, you know, you're competitive. So you've got other people out there doing similar things to help children. How do you make sure that what we're producing is the best? Then you've got your strategy. What's your game plan? You know, everything I learned from sports just links with business. So I'll just try and bring everything I know in there, and anything I don't know, you ask. You know, don't be afraid to ask someone, how do I get this done? Because you don't know everything.
Yeah, amazing. Thank you. That's so interesting. What I guess I'd like to know now is, you know, looking forward, what's next for you?
Ooh.
This is the exciting stuff.
Comfort zone and practice what I preach. We would like schools in the Northeast to start using free versions of NutriTroops, where they just do 15 minutes of activity a day, and we've got a whole little dancing running game for them to try along. So that's something small to get into the market even further, and that's what we want to focus on in the next half a year.
Okay, and you know, for NutriTroops looking forward, what kind of your goals for perhaps, you know, the next 6 months, year, the next few years? Where would you like to go?
Well, we would like to become a way of, when children are playing the game, we are collecting data, and that allows us to see how healthy children are. But also there's free data from, let's say, NHS and things like that, where we can link it up. So then we can also see outside of a child's lifestyle, as well as what they do at the same time. And that's all through gameplay. So as long as we make it interactive and they're learning the whole way, we're also learning too about where things might pop up with childhood obesity and what might be a trend that we can spot. Getting to that stage will be incredible. Yeah.
Okay. And then sort of immediate, you know, what's your kind of immediate plans for NutriTroops? Where would you like to be, saying 6 months
So this is where we want to connect with the councils across the country. So we'll start with the Northeast, and any other councils that are interested with NutriTroops is something we want to offer out for free and get them into little healthy heroes, you know. Yeah.
Right, well, any councils that are in the audience, you know where to go for this. Well, Peter, that's kind of all the questions that I had to ask you. However, is there anything else that perhaps you'd like to add or share about your journey so far? Yeah, you know, the floor's yours.
I would say is I've come across a lot of failures, you know, and the more no's you get, the more yeses you will. So keep pushing with whatever you're trying to do, and remember, I can't yet.
You know what? I'm going to take that away with me. I absolutely love that, and yeah, I'm probably going to write that down somewhere. It on the wall. Thank you so much for sharing your journey and your insights with us. It's been an absolute joy to talk to you.
It's been a pleasure.
And audience, thank you so much for joining us, and please enjoy the rest of London Tech Week. Thank you.
Thank you. See ya.